memory. We have more information on that for you at local12.com. Go to the news section and click on the Get It links.
Only 2 other teams have done it since 1970, but this is not a typical team. Next at 6, the true story behind this Bluegrass fairy tale.
A new Honda Accord is only $239 a month with no money down at Jeff Weiler Honda.
Federal statistics suggest driver distraction is a factor in 16% of all fatal crashes. Wow. For four Division I basketball teams, getting an invitation to the big dance is always one of the major goals when the season starts.
Yeah, for Northern Kentucky University, this was kind of the problem that they were never quite grown up enough to attend. But in its first year of eligibility, the little kid from Highland Heights grew up in a hurry.
In the Bluegrass, Kentucky basketball is life.
And the Kentucky coronation is complete.
Blue blood runs deep south of the Ohio River, or red runneth over.
The Louisville Cardinals, the national champions.
On March 7th, the Vikings invaded and the Norse kicked down the door that only 7 teams in history have done before.
It's not usual. I mean, for a team in their first year to go to the tournament, only 2 have done it since 1970. So this is not something that normally happens.
NKU has a history of not normal. John Brannon's only in his second year as head coach. Dave Beazold, who recruited several of Brannon's stars, didn't make it long enough to see a D1 invitation, and he replaced a legend.
Usually there's a coach or 2 that's fired in the interim before they would ever get there, which takes years.
Coach Shields has spent a lifetime in Northern Kentucky, 24 years as a high school coach, 16 at NKU, built from the ground up.
Well, I mean, we were in a high school gym, and it was special at the time because it started off not being very exciting because there wasn't good crowds. But then I think when we started getting the right guys in there and starting to gel together, Coach Shields did a good job of recruiting and getting the right mix of players in there. We started to win.
Twice on the doorstep of a national title.
We elevated back in 96 and 97 when we were national runners-up in Division II. But it's another elevation up, and it's an exciting time for everyone in Northern Kentucky.
2 women's national basketball titles in 2000 and 2008, men's soccer in 2010. They all created a buzz, but when the 10,000-seat BB&T Arena was completed in 2008 for $64 million, the D1 volume turned up.
I remember President Truba, when we first began to explore Division I, said we need to bring our athletic department up to the same level as our academic department. Our academic departments are already Division I.
So the D1 transition began in 2012. Spending the first 3 seasons in the Atlantic Sun Conference before accepting a bid to the Horizon League and waiting until this year to become eligible for postseason play. They really are Cinderella.
Northern Kentucky.
Let's go get them. I know a little bit about those guys.
People need to jump on this because this is not a bandwagon team. This is a team that's going to accomplish a lot for years to come. So I would like to say this is the beginning.
UC's Mick Cronin, he's a Cincinnati boy, went to LaSalle. Xavier's Chris Mack, he went to St. X. John Brannon, he went to Newcath, where Ken Shields recruited him. Brannon chose instead to go to Morehead State and then to Marshall, but he seems to have found his way back home. You can catch the Bluegrass Battle, NKU taking on Kentucky in the Big Dance. Tip-off time Friday night, right around 9:40, right here on Local 12.
Great story. You gotta love the underdog.
Isn't it fun
It
that
is.
they've had so much success?
It's great, but I want to be diplomatic here, so I'm going to say Norse up and go Big Blue. How about that?
Tight game, and we don't care who wins, John.
There you go.
I don't know whether that's going to fly with a whole lot of people.
I'm not sure it will, but I'll tell you, if you are going up I-74 to catch that game on Friday night, their weather in Indy is going to be much like it's going to be here. A high Friday of around 50. Expect some rain on Friday as you make that drive up I-74. Maybe you want to fly to one of the other destinations. If not for the basketball, perhaps for the weather. It might be a good bet going down here to Orlando.